You know that feeling, right? That little voice in your gut that tells you someone's words don't quite line up with what's really going on? Well, that's not just a hunch. It's you picking up on a silent language. And in this explainer, we're going to teach you how to become fluent.
Seriously, what if you could see the words people never actually say? I mean, imagine understanding the real story behind any conversation just by noticing these little clues hidden in plain sight. That's exactly the skill we're diving into today.
So, we're going to break down the actual science behind all those nonverbal cues. We're taking that vague gut feeling and turning it into a set of real, observable skills. Basically, think of this as your personal guide to becoming a much sharper, more insightful observer of human behavior.
Yeah, this quote absolutely nails it. See, most people just hear the words, but the smartest observers, they're paying attention to why those words are being said. The real story, it's often in the delivery, the timing, all those little signals that go along with the words. That's where the real understanding kicks in.
And there's actually a name for this skill in psychology. It's called interpersonal sensitivity. Now, this isn't about reading minds or anything like that. It's really the ability to pick up on those tiny, almost invisible clues, the little micro-behaviors, the hesitations in someone's tone, that tell you what's really going on in their head. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. It's like everyone is broadcasting on two different channels at once. You've got the verbal one, the one we all hear, and then there's this silent, behavioral channel that most of us we miss it entirely. So today we're going to learn how to tune in to that hidden frequency.
All right, so how do we start tuning in? Well, our first set of clues comes from decoding how people react, right in the moment.
Okay, so the very first clue, and it's a big one, is simply the speed of their response. That little gap in time between when you ask a question and when they give an answer, that pause, or the lack of one, tells you a huge amount about what's happening in their brain. And you can see the contrast right here. An instant, almost knee-jerk reaction, that often points to weaker impulse control, and it can reveal their unfiltered, true intentions. But a pause, that's not always a bad thing. It can actually be a sign of some serious high-level thinking, where the person is carefully crafting and refining their answer before they say it out loud. All right, let's take this idea and put it under pressure. The next clue is how someone handles chaos. I mean, it's one thing to answer a simple question, but how a person reacts when things get tense? Oh, that is a massive tell. It's like a live stress test for their emotional regulation. And here, the difference is just crystal clear. The person who stays calm in the middle of chaos, that shows high self-regulation. They're in control of their emotions and probably the situation too. On the flip side, someone who panics is showing lower impulse control. They're not thinking, they're just reacting emotionally.
Okay, moving on. We've talked about general reactions, but now let's get way more specific and zero in on one of the most expressive signals we have, the eyes.
You know that old saying, the eyes are the window to the soul? Well, there's a lot of truth to it. Where someone looks, or just as importantly, where they avoid looking, can signal everything from confidence to deep discomfort, or even just that their brain is working overtime.
So, a steady gaze, that usually signals someone is comfortable. They're confident in what they're saying. But an averted gaze, that often points to some kind of mental discomfort. Maybe they're struggling with the topic, or, like our source material points out, maybe they're struggling with being dishonest. But, and this is super important, you can't just jump to conclusions. Not all averted gazes mean the same thing. While yeah, it can signal dishonesty, that's actually a really common mistake people make. There's another major reason someone might look away. And this is it. Some people are what we call deep processors. So when you ask them a really complex question, they look away, but not to hide something. They do it to think. They literally have to break eye contact to focus inward, connect all the dots, and build their answer. It's a sign of deep thought, not deception. Big difference. Okay, so we've covered reactions, we've covered the gaze. Let's pull all of this together into a practical, simple toolkit you can start using like today. Here it is, your 3-step cheat sheet. First, watch for hesitations. Just note that pause between the question and the answer. Second, observe their gaze. Is it steady? Is it averted? Or is it that thoughtfully distant look? And remember that deep processor rule. And third, monitor their composure. How do they react when things get tense? Seriously, just these 3 steps will dramatically boost what you're able to see in any interaction. And just remember, this isn't some kind of superpower, okay? It's not mind reading. It's the science of simply paying better attention.
And just like any skill, the more you practice noticing these little details, the more fluent you're going to get at speaking this silent language.
So I'll just leave you with this question. The next time you're in a conversation or a meeting, or even just people watching, now that you know the signs, what will you see? That hidden frequency, it's always broadcasting. Now you actually know how to tune in.